The secret to manifestation is remembering it's better to fail at the level you want than to succeed at the level you don't want. But let me actually rephrase that a little better for manifestation. It's better to fail at the manifestation or state that you desire to be in rather than succeed at the manifestation or state that you don't want to be in. Because a lot of people usually ask, especially when manifesting a specific person. What if I can't manifest my specific person? What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm unable to get into the state? But keep in mind, you have absolutely nothing to lose by pushing towards the state that you're desiring rather than the state that you don't want to be in. You literally lose nothing, and everything you're doing is always a manifestation, meaning at this point in time, you are actively picking a state to embody, to encompass, and that's what's reflecting in your external reality. Every single thing is a state. So going back to that idea, it's better to actually fail at the state that you want. It's better to try to get into a pursued, a chased state and fail at it than to be successful at a state of being alone or being by yourself, because that's obviously not going to take us to where we want to go. And I want you to think about it in this way. Imagine a tennis player who wants to get better at playing tennis. Do they get better by playing individuals they know they can beat and are really easy for them to overcome or to win a tennis match against? And you would say, no. Right? They're not going to change the state. They're not going to alter their reality. If they're playing against people or things that they're very already good at, then there's not going to be any change or difference. And that's the same thing with our manifestation. If you are doing the same exact things that you've always done, you are maintaining the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same assumptions, and the same actions as you being in a state of being single, then how could we actually imagine any change is going to occur? But instead, if that tennis player plays against someone who is challenging to them, who they know is better than them and is going to be actually very difficult to play against, then change is going to occur even if they fail at it. And the first match, if they try to play against this really difficult or professional opponent and they don't succeed, they still got better. And that's how I want you to imagine the state of being pursued, the state of being chased, the state of being irresistible. Pick and choose those states. And just because they feel unnatural at the beginning doesn't mean that it's something that you can't do, because we want to use the assets of naturalness and habitualness to create and sustain our end state. Whatever becomes natural and habitual to you is going to be your overwhelming state. And remember, we cannot manifest anything that doesn't feel natural to us. So go back to this idea of challenging your state. Go back to this idea of becoming someone who is pursued, who is chased, and who is irresistible. Again, at the surface, it may feel weird. It's kind of like when you're brushing your teeth in the morning and you use your opposite hand. At first, it's going to feel very strange, very odd, something very different that we have never done before. But this doesn't mean that it's not something you can do. And I think most people actually look at it in this way. They think, I thought manifestation was supposed to be effortless. Why do I feel like I'm exerting effort? But it's all an illusion. In the same way, brushing your teeth takes absolutely no effort because it's something that's natural and habitual. If you switch hands, thus it feels difficult, but it's still all an illusion. It's just as easy and just as effortless as brushing with your dominant hand as your other one, but it's just this illusion or this thought process that it's not, because it is strange and different. And so most of the time, obviously, if we're living in a reality where we don't feel our specific person is chasing us, it doesn't mean that it's hard or difficult to get there. It just means it's something that we're not in the state of, or that's becoming very natural to us. And that's actually seemingly what feels like the hardest part in manifestation, is the fact that we are so accustomed to a particular state that we never want to leave it, because our mind thinks, well, I don't necessarily love this state. It's not the best state, but it's very comfortable. And as humans or in our minds, we would actually be in more desiring, or we would be desiring more for a state that is negative rather than being in an unknown one. And this is shown whenever you imagine asking your specific person out on a date and not receiving a message. Our mind wants them to reject us rather than being in this unknown. You might have the thought of, why don't they just text me already? But this is a state that we just want to get into we almost want to get comfortable with. We want to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, because that's your manifestation. That's just your previous state talking. When you have this thought of, why don't they just tell me no so I don't have to go on a date with them? If you ever have a thought or a thought that aligns with that, that's just your previous state crying and whining about remaining in a state that feels comfortable. But if we start to act pursued, act chased, act irresistible, it's literally better to try that out and fail at it than to be successful at being single. And I think the reason is very obvious. So you can make the choice right here and right now. And I'll tell you, at first it feels strange and uncomfortable, but over time it's going to become easy, become effortless. That's going to be your overwhelming state. And no matter what, this is actually a bridge that we have to cross in order to be with our specific person. We have to alter our state. We have to become different. We can't expect to get something from nothing. You have to give up your old self. You have to give up the old man in order to be this new individual that aligns with our new state. We can't put old patches or new patches on old garments. We can't put new wine in old bottles. You can't attempt to keep your same state and just alter it in order to move into your specific person, into that reality where you're married, in a relationship, whatever it is. And it actually is easier to just let go. So think of the new patches on old garments. Just let go of that old garment. Let go of that old state. If you're playing tennis and you're a beginner, let go of that concept. Go play and take the action that you would if you were already with your specific person. Or in this case, the tennis is that you're already that professional tennis player. And so I'll give you a little secret though, because mainly the problem with these assumptions or these states, or the reason we don't just want to jump into the new state, is our fear of failure. But I'll tell you a little secret. It's literally impossible for you to fail. You cannot fail a manifestation because it's all states. And if we're seeing in our reality something that we don't want, all we have to do is alter our state. And we're going to see a total difference in everything that is happening. And as always, I want to give you a little example of this and how it's literally impossible to fail with a success story. So here's someone from my email coaching session that commented a really cool success story recently. They wrote, "Hi Kyle, my specific person has called me, FaceTiming me every day for a week now, and not just once a day, but several times. They are in the state of their specific person chasing them, communicating with them, and desiring them." Because even think about that. Not only FaceTiming, but reaching out to them multiple times a day. That's the state and the embodiment of someone who is irresistible to their specific person. And so at first, if we think about the state that they were in before this, it might have felt uncomfortable. And I know I've said this before, but it is extremely important. The biggest problem that you're going to have in manifestation is accepting all of the positive successes that are coming into your reality. As much as you think you might be ready for it, your reality is going to change so much faster than you could ever imagine if we make this change. And so this individual, just like we all had to do, at some point or another, had to make the choice between, do I want to continue succeeding at the state I don't want, or do I want to try for a different state where it might be comfortable but aligns with our end state? And again, this feeling of uncomfortableness or inability to move into a new state is all an illusion, because this person practiced this in our coaching session, because that's mainly one of the first things I always talk about is the naturalness and habituality of living in the end. And they saw a change in their reality, and now their specific person basically won't leave them alone. So once again, I'll say it's better to fail at the manifestation and state you want than to succeed at the manifestation or state that you don't want. But again, I'll give you that secret all over again. It's literally impossible to fail. Trying to get into a state and not fully getting into it doesn't mean you're cut off from that forever. All you have to do is just do it again or try it again, because our previous state is going to be very dominant in our mind. And in the same way, when you're brushing your teeth with your right hand and you switch to your left, it's going to feel very strange at first, but it's going to become very comfortable. And then you're going to live the same exact success story that I put in this video. Thank you again so much for stopping by today. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts, worries, anything like that, leave them in the comment section below. And then remember, you can also reach out to me on my website at kyleaugustcoaching.com. If you know for a fact you're going to make this change right here and right now, and you're going to act and challenge yourself to be in that state of being with your specific person, because again, I say the word challenge, but it is so much easier than you could ever imagine. If you know you're doing that today and going to experience results with your specific person today, leave a thumbs up on this video. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you in my next video tomorrow.